Okay, it is now 3 o'clock. We're going to open the meeting with a roll call. We'll start with Commissioner Buck,
Here.
Commissioner Morissette,
Here.
Commissioner Poole, we know
Here.
is here, and Commissioner Wall,
Here.
Commissioner Silverstein. So we have everybody here. I need a motion for approval of the June 21, 2022 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Okay, second.
A sec-
We have a
Second.
motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carries. We have Mr. George with us today, substituting for the executive director. You want to start off with the enforcement activity, sir?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll be glad to do that. And good afternoon, commissioners and all attendees. It's been, as usual, very active for our Field Operations Bureau, our sworn officers out in the field doing inspection and enforcement. During the period since our last meeting, they discovered 13 separate violations, 12 of which came as a result of retail inspections of both alcohol and tobacco retailers. One was a undercover purchase of an alcohol from an unlicensed establishment that resulted in the execution of a search warrant. One of those inspections, one of the 13 or 12 inspections, did escalate to a second search as a result of a search warrant of a vehicle parked on the curtilage of a business. There were two separate alcohol violations, and 11 of the violations involved tobacco violations. The jurisdictions that our enforcement activity occurred in were Baltimore City, Prince George's County, Anne Arundel County, Allegheny County, Washington County, and Wycomico County. They yielded a plethora of different contraband products, including 3,210 packs of untaxed cigarettes, 97,594 sticks of untaxed other tobacco products, 54 containers of infused distilled spirits with fruit juices in pouches, 61 containers of distilled spirits, 190 containers of beer, 24 containers of wine. And those investigations resulted in 15 individuals being charged with a variety of criminal violations ranging from possession of untaxed cigarettes and other tobacco products, selling other tobacco products at retail from a source other than a licensed wholesaler, and alcohol sales without a license. Additionally, our Regulatory and Administrative Services Bureau has been active during this period since the last meeting. We've been renewing our direct wine shipping permits and our common carrier permits. We've renewed 1,041 of those. Additionally, we've issued 246 other licenses and permits during that period. They also published a training and information advisory that went out through the .gov delivery system, and it was the first one of this fiscal year, so its number is 23001. That went out on Friday, the 15th, and it was due to inquiries to our office, multiple inquiries from the alcohol industry, from members that were seeking guidance and asking questions about our Class 6 limited wine wholesaler's license and our Class 7 limited beer wholesaler's license. It basically it provided clarification of the privileges and limitations of both of those licenses, along with identifying other commonly observed trade practice violations among those license types. The .gov delivery system is an interesting method of getting it out to the subscribers that are interested, whether they're in the industry or any interested parties. And it allows us a certain amount of data collection in that we can track the percentage of the deliveries that are successful, and we can track the amount of subscribers that open the attachment. And just as a point of reference, this particular advisory went out Friday afternoon, fairly late in the day. To about an hour ago, it was 99% successful in the deliveries, and 37% of the subscribers opened the attachment. I was hoping it would be higher, but it's 37% at this point. We have, our executive team has continued to meet as a work group with the Maryland Medical Cannabis executive team of the regulators to create a report that's due to the General Assembly. I know we've talked about it in previous meetings. The report basically details recommendations from both agencies on how we can effectively combine assuring operational efficiency without negatively impacting pay, benefits, rights, and pensions of the employees. It's due in December of this year. We're running ahead of schedule. So, the report will be done well in advance of the due date. And just on another note, with regards to that, our executive team here at the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission was invited by one of the Maryland state licensed industry members within the medical cannabis industry for a presentation and a tour, which we took advantage of. Myself and my colleagues, Tom Akris and Jeff Hahn, we did take a tour. This particular licensee has a license as a grower, also as a manufacturer processor, and also as a dispensary. They have all three classes of the license. They took us, they put on a really informative presentation. And the tour, we toured all three separate facilities with one of basically the executives from that business. And it would, myself never having seen it, never having seen any component of the Maryland medical cannabis industry. It was fascinating, and I was very impressed with their commitment to quality control within all three of the facilities, and their integrity of their brand and product lines was extremely impressive. I look forward to the challenge ahead if we do become their regulators, and I know we're up to the challenge, but it was a truly an eye-opening experience. I do have some new business to discuss. I can wait until you bring it up if you want. If you want to move on to something, we can discuss the new business right now if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Let's discuss the new business right now, please.
Okay. Our office has been contacted by a representative of the University of Maryland. They were looking for guidance regarding their development of a fermentation science program. They're going to have classes such as viticulture, enology. They're going to have brewing and distilling courses and corresponding sensory analysis labs. And the guidance they were looking for was whether or not there might be a workaround or exception to allow students under 21 years of age in those classes or labs to essentially, and this is a term that's used in other states, sip and spit alcoholic beverages without actually consuming them as part of the curricula. My colleague, Tom Akris, conducted a very thorough research on that request and prepared a very comprehensive response to the question. And essentially, there is no exception to the law, and it would be unlawful to do what they want to do in the classroom at this point under the circumstances that they describe. And that particular exception would it would involve legislation going forward at some point if they wanted to do it, and it does that type of exception does exist in other parts of the country. I know my executive director has reached out to a representative at another representative at University of Maryland to begin a dialogue with him about, with that individual about potentially working with him. And I know that our executive team has, feels that this would be a great opportunity for the commission to get involved in, maybe, getting a seat at the table if you would be interested in developing like a maybe a a committee, to consider, to weigh in on legislation. So it's something to consider and potentially get a seat at that table to work with the University of Maryland on legislation that could create such an exception or just simply weigh in. So it's as we move along and establish more of a dialogue with them, we'll probably reach out to you, Mr. Chair, and give you an opportunity to interact with them.
Right.
If you would be amenable to it.
Yeah, Mr. Kelly and I talked about that, and I think that there's only 5 of us. So I don't think we need to pull a special committee together. I think all 5 of us can react to whatever is proposed and drafted by our staff and then make a recommendation back if that is okay with the rest of you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So we appreciate the opportunity to be on the front end of this. I think it's important.
Mr. Chairman, question to follow up, if you don't mind, is so this is an undergraduate program at the University of Maryland to develop the ability to work in the alcohol industry and the fermenting capability. Is that correct?
That is my understanding in talking with Mr. Kelly.
That is correct.
Yeah. Okay. I have no problem with that.
It's a fermentation science program.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, that is all that I have, sir. I'll yield back to you unless you have any questions or if anyone has any questions.
No, I just make one comment. I did have the opportunity to sit in on one of the meetings with the Maryland Medical Marijuana Commission staff and our staff as they discussed how they could mesh both organizations together. I was very impressed with the willingness of both parties to make sure that as they move forward, they took in consideration all of the employees and how they would be treated. There are some issues where we have our folks are sworn officers out in the field. They don't have any sworn officers. So there was a discussion about whether there needed to be a special class for them. Many of their people or some of their people that were at the table were former police officers, and I don't think they want to go through the academy process again. But they did talk about, whether or not there would be like a 2-week class or a 3-week class or something like that. So there's some of those kinds of things that we're going to need some help on down the road. But I was very impressed. Mr. Akras led a lot of the discussion, and Mr. George was there, myself. We have a new staff person doing our new attorney.
We do. That's Jeffrey Hahn, and he fits right in here and hit the ground running.
He's got federal prosecutorial experience as well as being in the Baltimore Baltimore office for Marilyn Mosby's office in Baltimore.
That's correct.
I was very impressed with him. So I think we're building a great staff, and what we're trying to do in putting together a plan for the House and the Senate to consider as we move forward looks like it's going to be something really well done. Maryland Department of Health. We have on FDA inspections. Dana?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Dana Moncrief here from the Department of Health. So I just wanted to give everyone a quick update on our FDA inspections. So my office with the Center for Tobacco Prevention and Control at MDH oversees the contract between Maryland and FDA. And this contract is to conduct inspections of retailers throughout the state to ensure that they are following all federal tobacco control youth access laws. We were under a stop order for a while due to COVID, and then due to some staffing changes and other changes in the program, there were delays, but as of end of May, we've been back and the program has resumed. So we have FDA commissioned officers and underage purchasers in the field now conducting inspections. So while I can't get into the specifics of percentages of violations due to the FDA contract requirements, our FDA commissioned officers are reporting that there have been several and many violations. So we're continuing to do all that. And we also, just to let everyone know, we separately have shipped out materials to all licensed tobacco retailers. We have a campaign called No Tobacco Sales to Minors, or 21 or None. I can certainly share the website with everyone, but the materials we shipped are signs that can be posted within the stores and retail environments to remind customers that retailers can't sell to those under 21. Some quick reference guides on the various laws and how to check IDs. And just some other materials that can be used within the store. So those were just last month shipped to every licensed tobacco retailer. And this is based on the list that we get from the comptroller and ATC of all the licenses that have been issued. So those are my quick updates. Unless anyone has any questions, that was all for me.
I have a quick
Thank
question
you
for you.
very
What were
much
the,
for joining us? Go ahead, Robert.
just a real quick question, just a 10,000 foot view. What were the violations that you mentioned?
What? I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
What were the violations that you alluded to earlier?
Oh, that we cannot disclose. So we have to submit everything to the FDA. Once everything is reviewed, then they'll post it on their public site. So it could be sales to minors, or packaging or advertising. So unfortunately, until it's publicly posted, we can't really get into the details. And that's per the FDA contract. And we all have to sign notices that we won't share and disclose this information. But we can continue to update as we see on the website. Maybe in future meetings, as they become updated, we could probably share that information.
Thank you.
Sure.
Does anybody have any new business they want to discuss? If not, I would ask for a motion for adjournment. Mr. Poole, Barbara, as well,
I
second.
second that.
No,
Yes,
I've got you for the motion, Mr. Poole. You're shaking your head.
Second it.
And you'll second it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Same sign. All right,
Before we
Miss.
wrap up,
Yes,
I'd
sir.
like to meet all you guys in person at some point. We got to set that up.
I would like, yeah, it would be nice to be able to do that. And we'll work to get that done. We'll talk with Mr. Kelly. Anything else from you?
One quick personal favor.
Yes.
There's a new national hotline. It's 988 for anyone that is depressed, suicidal, anybody needs any help, 988. As you know, I lost my son to suicide, so it's a very personal thing to me. Please post that anywhere that you have a social thing or anybody that you know.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Mr. George, you have anything else?
No, sir, Mr. Chair, but thank you.
All right, we're adjourned until next month. Thank you all very much. And thank
Bye.
you everybody who's joined us.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.